you read this? You
Hola,
want
hola,
to?
hola, hola, perdí comunicación.
Can you hear me?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. So, can you read? Can you start reading?
Okay. Chapter 1.
Mhm.
We are introduced to the narrator of Pilot and his ideas about ground ups.
Okay. This is what we're gonna do. We are going to. I'm going to read, and then you read after me. Okay.
No, no te entendí ahí, perdóname.
So I'm going to read, and then you're going to repeat.
Repeat.
Yes. So I'm going to read. We are introduced to the narrator, a pilot, and his ideas about grown up. Read. Repeat.
Yes. We are introduced to the narrator, a pilot, and his ideas about ground
Ideas.
ups. Ideas?
Ideas.
Ideas about ground ups.
Grown ups.
Ground
Yes.
ups.
Yes. Once, when I was 6 years old, repeat.
Once, when I was 6 years old,
Once.
wa-
Once.
once, at,
Once.
once, when I was 6 years old,
I saw a magnificent picture in a book. You read.
disculpe, perdí la. Ah, ya. Hay
I saw
interferencia.
a magnificent picture in a book.
Discúlpame, hay algo de interferencia y pierdo como la imagen del texto.
And now, can you see now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
I saw a magnificent picture in a book.
I saw a magnificent picture. Oh, se perdió otra vez la imagen.
In a book
In a book
called True Stories from Nature.
called True Histories from Nature.
True Stories from Nature.
True Histories from Nature.
About the primeval forest.
About the primeval forest.
It was a picture of a boa constrictor.
It was a picture of a boa constrictor
In the act of swallowing an animal.
in the act of swallowing an animal.
Here is a copy of the drawing.
Here is a copy of the following.
Drawing. Drawing.
Sorry, sorry. Es que se pierde como a veces la imagen, ¿no? O sea, a ratos la veo y en otros momentos no.
Okay, we just need some patience then. So here is a copy of the drawing. Okay,
No.
Antonio. So let's review some vocabulary. How do you say historias in English?
Hola, hola.
Antonio, how do you say historias in English?
Sorry, sorry, no, 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 no te escucho, no.
No, you don't have good audio. Oh, we also have Vanessa here. Hello, Vanessa.
Hola, hola, hola,
Hello.
¿ahí me escuchas?
Yes, I have always been able to hear you. It's perfect for me.
No, yo sí te escucho con un poco de interferencia y en ocasiones cuando tienes la pantalla del texto, apareces otra chica que está como conectada con nosotros.
Mm. Hmm. Oh, I think I understand what happens. It's because if Vanessa speaks, si el que Google siempre va a mostrar la pantalla del que esté hablando.
Oh, yes.
Entonces, vamos a hacer otra cosa. Digamos, yo les voy a enviar el enlace para que ustedes puedan tener el texto. En el chat acabo de compartir el enlace para que ustedes
Correcto,
lo
ya.
tengan ahí abierto.
Listo.
Vanessa, hello Vanessa.
Hello, how are you?
Good, and you?
Fine.
Good to see you, Vanessa.
Yes, the connection is very slow.
Well, we'll be patient. Oh, I forgot that we can share these. I don't know if Vanessa shared the link in the WhatsApp group. Thank you to
Yes.
whoever. Thank you. Okay, let me write here in the WhatsApp group. We are reading the little prince. Okay, so Vanessa, do you have the text?
No, I haven't the text.
I just shared the link in the chat. I just shared the link in the chat. So you can click there.
Robin Book or Robin Book Online?
The chat of these broadcasts, the chat of these online video calls. Or
For Hangouts, yes?
yes, Hangout. I'm going to also share it in the WhatsApp group. I just share it in the
In the chat. Hello,
so, hello, I'm Matthias.
Matthias. Hello.
Ah. Okay, ready? Do you have the text? Antonio, do you have?
Yes.
Starting.
Okay, so we can start reading.
Yes, I have the book.
Okay, so anyway, I'm going to share my screen.
The first part?
Yes,
Or,
we just read the first paragraph.
the first?
Paragraphs. Once, when I was 6 years old, I saw a magnificent picture in a book called True Stories from Nature about the primeval forest. It was a picture of swallowing an animal. Here is a copy of the drawing. Okay, so simple vocabulary. How do you say naturaleza in English?
Naturaleza in English? Nature.
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 Nature. Nature.
Nature.
How do you say ver in English? How do you say ver in English?
Sí.
See, and in the past tense?
Saw.
Saw. Saw. Tragar in English.
I don't know.
Antonio,
Chewing? Chewing?
can you see my text?
Chewing?
Swallowing. Swallow is
Swallowing.
to swallow. To swallow. Okay? So the picture was about a
Yes.
boa constrictor
Wow.
swallowing an animal. Okay, let's continue. Vanessa, can you read? Well, I'm going to read, and then Vanessa is going to repeat after I read. So, ready, Vanessa?
Yes. The first part again?
The second
Or
of the chapter 1. Chapter 1,
okay.
second paragraph. Okay, Vanessa?
In the okay.
I'm going to read,
In-
and then you read, okay?
Okay.
In the book, it said, boa constrictors swallow their prey whole. Vanessa?
Without chewing it.
No, you repeat. You repeat.
Okay. In the book, it said, boa constrictors swallow their prey whole.
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 Yes.
Whole.
Without,
What is the meaning?
without chewing it.
Without chewing.
Chewing it.
Chewing it.
After that, they are not able to move.
After that, they are not able to move.
And they sleep through the 6 months that they need for digestion.
And they sleep through the 6 months that they need for digestion.
Digestion, yes. Sleep. Sleep.
Sleep, yes.
Okay, so Vanessa, how do you say tragar, mandar in English?
Mandar? No, I don't know.
Antonio, how do you say tragar in English?
No.
It is the same word that we practice in the first paragraph. This word. You see the word? You see the word that I'm highlighting? It is swallow. Swallow.
Wow.
SWALLOW. Swallow. How do you say presa in English? Presa in English. What? How do you say presa in English?
Pray.
Pray. Pray, 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 pray. How do you say entero, entera in English? How do you say entero, entera in English?
No. 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 I don't know.
No? Get his words. It's here. It's here. How do you say presa? How do you say entero, entera in English?
Whole.
Whole. Very good. Whole. Whole. Okay. So, how do you say, what else? How do you say digestión in English?
Digestion.
Very good. Digestion. Digestion. How do you say masticar in English?
Chewing.
Yes, to chew. Chew. Chew, chew, chew.
Chewing.
Chewing is in gerund. Come here. We are reading The Little Prince. Do you want to? You want to say? You want to say hi again?
¿Y tú también vienes?
You want to say again? My nephew wants to say hi again. Say hello.
Hello. Matías?
How are you? I love Uncle Milton. Yes. Esto es algo que deben tener todas las personas que estudian inglés, una disposición natural a repetir, a estar atentos. Because sometimes people are just afraid and people are just like thinking about grammar or thinking about like trying to understand too much. But they have to just relax. And that's what you need to know, as this is precisely where reading The Little Prince, because we need to become like children again.
Yes.
Bye.
Thinking how a children.
Bye bye. I love you. Okay, good. So sorry for the interruption, but that was a good interruption. Okay, so let's continue with the book. Okay. Now, Antonio, are you ready to keep reading? Now we're going to read the third paragraph.
Yes.
I pondered deeply.
I ponder it deeply.
Pondered
Ponder it deeply.
pondered deeply, yes. Then over the adventures of the jungle,
Then over the adventures of the jungle,
adventures,
adventurous,
and after some work,
and after some work
with a colored pencil,
with a colored pencil,
I succeeded in making my first drawing.
I succeeded in making my first drawing.
Succeeded. Very good. My drawing number one.
My drawing number one.
Drawing.
My drawing number one.
It looked like this.
It looked like this.
Okay, very good. Now, Antonio and Vanessa. How do you say jungla in English?
Jungle.
Jungle, very good. How do you say lápiz in English?
Pencil.
How do you say meditar in English?
I do not.
Guess. You can guess.
Pondered?
It's here. What?
Pondered?
Pondered. Yes, very good. Pondered. How do you say in Spanish? In Spanish, how do you say tener éxito?
To have exit.
No. Exit is salida in English.
Yes. Successful, maybe?
Succeeded.
Okay.
Succeeded. Yes. How do you say in English aventuras? Adventures. How do you say dibujo? Drawing. Okay.
Draw is the action. Yes.
Drawing. If you say I am drawing, is the action, but here it's not an action. Here is a noun. So this is the drawing. This is the drawing. Okay.
Yes.
The drawing. Okay. How do you say profundamente in English?
Deeply.
Deeply. Okay, good. Let's continue. Vanessa. I read and then you repeat. After me, you reread. I showed my masterpiece to the grown. Vanessa?
I show my masterpiece to the grown ups
And asked them whether the drawing frightened them.
and asked them whether the drawing frightened them.
Good. How do you say adultos in English?
Grown up,
Vanessa. What?
grown up,
Grown-ups. Grown-ups. How do you say pregunté in English?
asked,
Asked. Asked. How do you say obra maestra in English?
masterpiece,
Masterpiece. How do you say mostré in English?
showed,
Showed. Showed.
showed,
How
showed,
do you say asustar in English?
frightened,
Frighten. Frighten.
frightened, frightened,
Frighten. Yes.
frightened.
How do you say a ellos in English?
Them,
Them. Antonio, how do you say si sí o si no in English?
Yes or no?
Here, it's here. It's here. Where is it? Antonio, Vanessa?
no?
What?
What is the question?
How do you say in English si sí o si no?
Whether,
Weather. Weather. I showed my masterpiece to the grown-ups and asked them whether the drawing frightened them. Okay, Antonio, let's read Antonio. But they answered,
But they answered,
answered.
frightened.
Why should anyone be frightened by a hat?
Why should anyone be frightened by a hat?
Frightened by a hat.
Frightened by a hat.
Mhm. My drawing was not a picture of a hat.
My drawing was not a picture of a hat.
It was a picture of a boa constrictor digesting an elephant.
I was a picture of a boa constrictor digesting an elephant.
But since the grown-ups
But since the grown-ups
were not able to understand it,
were not able to understand it,
I made another drawing.
I made another drawing.
I drew the inside of the boa constrictor.
I drew the inside of the boa constrictor.
Drew.
I drew the inside of the boa constrictor.
So that the grown-ups could see it clearly.
Excuse me, repeat, please.
So that the grown-ups
So that the grown-ups
could see it
could see it
clearly.
clearly.
clearly, clearly.
Clearly.
They always need to have things explained.
They always need to have things explained.
Things explained.
Things explained.
My drawing number 2 looked like this.
My drawing number 2 look like this.
Okay, and now we see drawing number 2. This is drawing number 2. Antonio, what do you see here? What do you see in this drawing?
Sorry, repeat, please.
What do you see in this drawing?
Drawing.
Here.
Dibujo.
This picture, this drawing, what do you see here? What are your observations? Observations about this drawing.
Hello.
Hello. Who's with us now?
Nicolas, me.
Hey, hello, Nicholas. Good to see you. We started reading. We are with Nicholas and Vanessa. They seem to be, I don't know, maybe A2 plus. So we're helping them to read. So we can read together and then we're going to start discussing more about the first chapter. Nicholas, have you already read this book?
No, I haven't.
No? Oh, you must read this book. Nicholas, actually, in the chat or in the WhatsApp group, I also shared the link where you can find the book. But if you,
Okay.
yeah, it's better if you just click.
Yeah, just
and have it
give
on
me
the tab.
a second. I'm
Sure.
trying to connect from my computer so I can do the hangout from there. I think it's more comfortable for me.
Okay.
So give me
So
just a second.
let me know when you're ready, and then we can you can start reading too. Okay.
Okay.
I was with Antonio. So Antonio, Vanessa, what do you see in this drawing, Vanessa?
In this drawing, there are elephant inside the constrictor boa.
Inside a boa constrictor. Yes, that's right.
Is boa
Okay.
constrictor? Constrictor boa.
Boa constrictor. Yes.
Okay, boa constrictor. Okay.
Okay. Vanessa, please. We're going to read this paragraph. The grown-ups responds.
The grown-ups response
This time was to advise me to lay aside my drawings of boa constrictors.
was to advise me to lay aside my drawings of boa constrictors,
whether from the inside or the outside.
whether from the inside or the outside,
and devote myself instead to geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar.
and devote myself instead to geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar.
Devote.
Devote.
History. That is why, at the age of 6,
that is why, at the age of 6,
I gave up what might have been a magnificent career as a painter.
I gave up what might have been a magnificent career as a painter.
I had been disheartened by the failure of my drawing number 1 and my drawing number 2.
I had been disheartened by the failure of my drawing number 1 and my drawing number 2.
Grown-ups never understand anything by themselves.
Grown-ups never understand anything by themselves.
And it is tiresome for children to be always and forever explaining things to them.
And it is tiresome for children to be always and forever explaining things to them.
I'm ready.
Okay,
I
cool.
didn't want to interrupt.
Sure, no problem. This is a very short book. So, Nicholas, I want you to start reading so you can catch up. So, can you
Okay,
please start
so
chapter number 1?
okay, so should I start where she left, or
No, we're going to let you catch up because you can do it quickly.
okay? So since where, I'm sorry,
Chapter 1.
chapter 1, we are introduced to the narrator, a pilot, and his ideas about grown-ups.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
okay?
Okay.
So it says, once when I was 6 years old, I saw a magnificent picture in a book called The True Stories from Nature. The true stories from nature about the primeval forest.
Primeval,
It was
yeah.
a picture of a boa constrictor in the act of swallowing an animal. Here is a copy of the drawing. In the book, it said, boa constrictors swallow their prey whole without chewing it. After that, they are not able to move, and they sleep through the 6 months that they need for digestion. I pondered deeply. I pondered deeply, then over the adventures of the jungle, and after some work with a colored pencil, I succeeded in making my first drawing. My drawing number 1. It looked like this. It looked like this. I showed my masterpiece to the grown-ups and
Showed.
asked them. I showed my masterpiece to the grown-ups and asked them whether the drawing frightened them. But they answered, frightened? Why should anyone be frightened by a hat? By a hat? My drawing was not a picture of a hat. It was a picture of a boa constrictor. This It was a picture of a boa constrictor digesting an elephant. But since the grown-ups were not able to understand it, but yeah, I am not seeing very well. But since the grown-ups were not able to understand it, I made another drawing. I drew the inside of the boa constrictor so that the grown-ups could see it clearly. They always need to have things explained. My drawing number 1, number 2, I'm sorry, looked like this. The grown-ups' response this time was to advise me to lay aside my drawings of boa constrictors, whether from the inside or the outside, and devote myself instead to geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar. That is why, at the age of 6, I gave up what might have been a magnificent career as a painter. I had been disheartened
Mhm.
by the failure of my drawing number 1 and my drawing number 2. Grown-ups never understand anything by themselves, and it's tiresome for children to be always and forever explaining things to them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good. Any questions, Nicholas?
No, everything's clear.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to read with Antonio, right? Are you ready, Antonio? Is Antonio there? Nope. Antonio
No.
is not here. Vanessa is here.
I
So
have
Vanessa, let's continue.
question. I have a question. The word dessert.
Sorry?
The word dessert. What is the meaning?
Disheartened.
Yes, dessert.
Disheartened. This is like broken-hearted. But let's see, disheartened. If I have a better define disheartened. Oh, Antonio came back, right? Disheartened, discouraged, dispirited,
Antonio is left.
demoralized, depressed, dismayed. Okay, that's cause someone to lose determination and confidence. Okay.
Okay.
Discourage, dispirit, demoralize, depressed, dismay. So cause someone to lose determination and confidence. Okay, Vanessa?
Okay.
Okay. Antonio,
There-
are you pause again?
There's actually a song from a band that I love that is called Disheartened. So I have the meaning in my mind because of that song.
Okay.
It's pretty good,
Now that
by the way.
you see in a different context, you can think of a better concept now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Antonio, can you read? Nope. Antonio's not
And he's
here.
having problems, I think. He's
Okay.
like connecting and disconnecting.
Yeah. Vanessa, let's read, Vanessa. So then I chose another profession
So then I chose another profession
and learned to pilot airplanes.
and learned to pilot airplanes.
I have flown a little over all parts of the world.
I have flown a little over all parts
Hello.
of the world.
And it is true that geography has been very useful to me.
And it is true that geography has been very useful to me.
At a glance, I can distinguish China from Arizona.
At a glance, I can distinguish China from Arizona.
If one gets lost in the night, such knowledge is valuable.
If one gets lost in the night, such knowledge is valuable.
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 Okay. So, Vanessa, Antonio, how do you say piloto in English?
Pilot.
And how do you say pilotear in English?
Oh, God.
It's just the same. To pilot.
Yeah. To pilot. Yes.
To pilot. And Antonio, Vanessa, how do you say aprendí in English?
How do you say what? Excuse me.
Aprendí in English.
Hello.
Vanessa, can you hear us?
Yes. What? Yes.
How do you say aprendí in English?
Learned.
Learned. How do you say, Vanessa, Antonio, a simple vista in English?
Hello.
Oh, such a lame.
Antonio.
Who's here? We have Vanessa, Nicolas, and what? Antonio, who is always trying to connect. Okay. Oh, it says that we have 3 viewers. 3 viewers is who? Okay, so Antonio, hello, Antonio.
Hello.
Hello, Antonio.
Sorry, my network is failed.
Okay, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry.
So, Vanessa, how do you say ácido in English?
Acid.
What?
Acid.
How do you say ha sido in English?
Acid. No?
Oh, what?
Has been.
My computer going crazy.
Please use headphones for the call. Okay. Did I already ask you? How do you say a simple vista in English?
Teacher, I'm going to join from the computer, so give me a second, I will be here.
Okay. Vanessa, how do you say a simple vista in English?
I don't know.
It's at a glance.
Okay. At a glance. At a
At a
glance.
glance. In a quick view of something. Okay, Antonio is here now.
Not there. Not there.
Okay, Vanessa, let's continue reading. In the course of this life,
In the course of this life,
I have had a great many encounters with a great many people.
I have had a great many encounters with a great many people
Who have been concerned with matters of consequence.
who have been concerned with matters of consequence.
I have lived
Consequence.
a great deal among grown-ups.
I have lived a great deal among grown-ups.
I have seen them intimately.
I have seen them intimately.
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 Close at hand. Close at hand.
Close at hand.
And that hasn't much improved my opinion of them.
And that
Hasn't.
and that hasn't much improved my opinion of them.
Whenever I met one of them,
Whenever I met one of them
who seemed to me at all clear-sighted,
who seemed to me all clear-sighted,
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 I tried the experiment of showing him my drawing number 1.
I tried the experiment of showing him my drawing number 1,
which I have always kept.
which I have always kept.
I would try to find out
I would try to find out
so if this was a person of true understanding.
so if this was a person of true understanding.
Whoever it was, whoever it was,
But whoever it was,
he or she would always say, "That is a hat."
he or she would always say that is a hat.
Okay. How do you say parecer in English?
Like
No.
mm, seemed.
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 Seemed, yes. Seemed to seem. How do you say in English? I don't know how to say this in Spanish. How do you say?
Eso no risa.
How do you say? 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 How Cuerdo. Cuerdo.
Clear-sighted.
Clear-sighted.
Sighted.
That's the idea. And how do you say entendimiento in English?
Understanding.
Yeah.
Understanding. Good. How do you
Yeah,
say
sorry,
verdadero?
sorry to interrupt. I just my computer is not working that well, so I will continue from my cell phone.
Okay, that's fine. So, okay, so we just read one more paragraph. So, do you have the text with you, Nicholas?
Yes.
Can you read in the second page where it says so then I chose another profession, and you read the next 3 paragraphs, please.
Okay. So okay. So then I chose another profession and learned to pilot airplanes. I've flown a little over all parts of the world, and it's true that geography has been very useful to me. At a glance, I can distinguish China from Arizona. If one gets lost in the night, such knowledge is valuable.
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 Mhm.
Okay. In the course of this life, I've had a great many encounters with great many people who have been concerned with matters of consequence. I have lived a great deal among grown-ups. I've seen them intimately, close at hand, and that hasn't much improved my opinion of them.
Mhm.
Whenever I met one of them who seemed to me all sighted or sight,
Excited.
sighted, yeah, sighted, I tried the experiment of showing him my drawing number one, which I have always kept. I would try to find out so if this was a person of true understanding, but whoever it was, he or she would always say, "That is a hat."
Mhm.
Then I would never talk to that person about boa constrictors or primeval forest or stars. I would bring myself down to his I would bring myself down to his level. I would talk to him about bridge and golf and politics and neckties.
Mhm.
And the grown up would be greatly pleased to have met such a sensible man.
Mhm. Okay,
Okay.
Yvonne, questions?
Vanessa?
Vanessa, sorry.
But it
Vanessa, I have an obsession with
was a
you.
misunderstanding.
Any questions, Vanessa?
No.
No?
No.
Vanessa, how do you say in English puente in English?
Bridge.
Good. And how do you say sabio in English?
Knowledge-man.
No.
Mm,
Nicholas, how do you say sabio in English?
Maybe wise.
Yes, you can say wise. And a synonym, what is the synonym of wise in this paragraph?
Should be knowledgeable, maybe knowledgeable. Can work.
Uh, in this paragraph, where is that in this paragraph? No, it's sensible. Sensible
Okay,
is a false
sensible.
friend. Sensible is a false friend because sensible is not sensible. Sensible is in like reasonable, like wise.
Okay, like in Spanish we can say sensato.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
I didn't know that meaning.
Okay. So that was chapter one. What do you think of chapter one, Nicholas?
Well, seems to be an interesting book to read. It talks about like how 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 grown people, the grounds, sometimes just want the kids, the little kids, to do what they want to do, and they just think that the way that the kids see things is not the correct way. But it is not always like that. And if the grown-ups, if the parents uh, keep that way of thinking, maybe the children, sorry, will not continue with their dreams. So that can be like a barrier for the little for children in, for example, dreaming
A
about
very,
anything that they want to
very
be on the future. So it's interesting.
cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, what what I see here, we just need to explore different perspectives. What I see here is, oh well, but before that, uh, Vanessa, what do you think of chapter one?
Is an introductory of the book because we talk about the child that um, see to see, oh no, he saw the book of nature and he found the no thing in the boa constrictor and check an elephant. He went and thinking about going.
Okay. Uh, the line was cutting off a little bit and I couldn't hear you well. I'm sorry, but
Okay.
we are going to continue. Uh, so, for me, it's really interesting when it says here, um, then I would never talk to that person about boa constrictor or primeval forest or stars. I would bring myself down to his level. It's interesting. It's like a child saying that he has to bring himself down to the level of an adult, and that's true because um, let me bring up this again. Uh, a child. Why is a child, or first, you think? Would you think that a child or an adult, one of these two, is happier than the other?
Yeah, of course. I think that definitely the children, a kid,
Children are happier
it's
than adults, than
are
grown ups?
happier. Of course,
What makes
we can see it.
what makes them happier?
Maybe that they don't have much responsibilities and they can think freely or freeler, more free than
Freely.
the
You say
adults.
freely.
Yeah,
Freely. Yes, they can think freely.
yeah. Like I want to say, like more free than the adults. I mean, they have like more creativity, more ways of
Because
thinking
they
and
can think more freely. More freely.
more freely. Yeah, and and for that reason that they don't have like much to worry about, they they're happier than adults. I
Yes.
think that as you are growing up, you start like overthinking things, uh, like getting in troubles in your mind that you think that don't have any solution, and you create situations in your mind that do not allow you to continue and to live your life happy. But that doesn't happen with a child, with a kid, since he just wants to play and have fun, and that's it. So that's a simple way of life and a happy way of life. We shouldn't have had left that behind, but we need to keep it forward. And I think that the problems and stuff are a process, are a part of a life.
Cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. I agree with you. Uh, so when we grow up, or as we grow up, you said we acquire new responsibilities. That's true. You have to you have to just make sure that you are going to provide for yourself. You are going to have the capacity to buy your food or pay for shelter, for your house, for rent. Uh, I would dare to say that this is the life of a child. This is the life of a grown up, and the grown up has, let's say, these much more of responsibilities. However, we worry uh, not only about this much more of responsibilities, but we worry just too much because we start worrying about clothes, fashion.
Yes, yes.
We start worrying about then parties and pretending to be you're successful, your job, your cell phone. You have to pay bills and you have to catch up with everything that is it's popular. Sometimes catching up with popular things becomes a burden. Have you ever
Yes.
noticed, Nicholas? Has it ever happened to you you that someone asks you about a TV series or a meme that you don't know?
Yeah, of course, it happens to me all the time.
And
People ask me, "Hi, have you watched this program or have you watched this series from Netflix?" And I
mhm.
say, "No, I haven't."
So,
So they
which
say, so
TV
they
series? Give me a name, please.
a name. What do you mean?
The
Of a
name of
series or what?
the TV series.
For example, there is one that is very popular and it's called Riverdale. I think that is called, and I haven't seen
I
that.
don't,
So,
I don't know.
and
So,
that's it.
so what is the phase of those friends, those people, when you tell them that you haven't watched those series?
They are like surprised, like, "Oh, but everyone is watching that series, so you should." But
Yeah.
I am like, so ask them, but what is the series about? And if I find that interesting, I maybe will see it. But
Mhm.
that's it. I mean, they are like surprised. Like everyone is watching that. Why are you not watching that?
So these people, they oh, really? You haven't watched Game of Thrones? You haven't watched The Walking Dead? You haven't watched this and that? So you don't know these memes? Oh, you don't understand. And then those people make you feel that you don't belong to this
Yeah,
society.
like
So and you
you
get
were left
emotional,
behind.
mhm, and you get emotionally stressed. So then you have one more responsibility, the responsibility of belonging to this society. And you start acquiring more and more prejudices. And you have to fit in, and you have to have certain lifestyle. And
Yes, that's like social pressure, something like.
yes, so all that, they are chains that keep your hands and your mind tied up, and you become a slave somehow. And that's why children are free, because we worry. Sorry, we worry too much about too many stupid things.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's true.
children are free, are more free, I think you say,
Yeah,
because they don't worry about that. And when we, as grown-ups, have to follow certain rules and paradigms and expectations in society, then you become too short-sighted, and you cannot see with different eyes. And that's what happened to this friend in this story, because the grown-ups couldn't see the boa constrictor digesting an elephant. Uh,
yeah,
so sometimes when people tell you become like a child, and they say, "Oh yes, I have to become like a child because I want to have fun, because I want to maybe be innocent." So yes, it's true. That's beautiful. That's the romantic way of talking about that. But my invitation today is be like children. Just break up those chains that seize your mind, that those chains that don't let you appreciate beautiful things. For instance, everybody knows Gladys because I'm always talking about Gladys. She is really like a child. She has a pure soul. She's surprised every time, but little things. And wow, this is beautiful. Wow, this is perfect. So I really wish I could be like her, because those are children. They can enjoy little things, simple things in life, and we can see life in different perspectives.
yeah. I agree with
Um,
you. I think that most of adults have lost that surprising thing that we had when we were child. Personally, in this moment, I am amazed, for example, with that like complete new world of knowledge when I start reading a new book, for example, or when I'm walking through the street and I see a beautiful piece of architecture and I can like see the work that someone has done with that building, so I can be like amazed about how human beings can be that creative. I'm sorry. Happens to me the same with music. I often listen to classical music. I think that that's a music that is characterized by uh, communicating something, but not to the physical world, but to the spiritual world of someone's. So each time that I have the opportunity to listen to one of those pieces, I can like travel to another world, like see things with another perspective, and understand that life without music and without art, it's impossible to be. I cannot imagine a life without art, without music, without all of that beautiful things that life offers to you. So I am like sometimes worried about people because they are always like walking through the streets, looking to their cell phones, just in Facebook, checking posts. I mean, that's interesting. That's part of the each one's life, but there are a lot of things more to discover and to know. So I don't know what is happening to these people that have lost that surprise and capacity, and that's a little bit sad, but well, that's what we have.
Beautiful.
So
Thank you so much, Nicholas, for sharing that. As you were talking, I just had you gave me the idea of I don't know, like two ideas now. First, what you were saying is like, yes, that's how you find beauty and how you find spirituality and humanity in music, in literature, in knowledge in general, and you discover this new world, and you feel that this makes you better, so it makes you more human, and it helps you develop your divine potential. And when I say divine, right now for me it's a synonym of human and divine, because humans are divine. Because for me, we have the capacity to do beautiful things. I love nature. I love animals. I respect them. You have seen that I'm always talking. I'm an environmentalist. But we also need to admit that animals don't have the capacity to create music in the way we have done it, to create architecture in the way we have done it, to create literature in the way we have. And we are special. That doesn't give us the right to feel that we are at the center of the universe and that we can destroy the, the planet. No, I don't agree with that. But you were saying that we have beautiful things to work on. So imagine that a world in which we didn't have to spend 8 hours working, just doing operational things, and we could spend more time developing ourselves, developing the self. We would become wonderful creatures. And I thought, oh, maybe those aliens in other planets, in other galaxies, maybe those people are people who have devoted themselves to music, culture, architecture, music, and that's why they have evolved so much. So yes, we need to devote ourselves to that beauty and that sublime inhumanity, which is divine. So please don't fall in that trap of of just becoming another product of the commerce world, of the capitalist world. So yes, we need to pay. We need to have money so we can indulge ourselves in the beauties of this world, but the self is really important. Well, thank you so much. Please, Vanessa, could you finish? Because there is no more time. Could you finish? What do you think of this first chapter? What do you think?
If the people uh, say you can't to do something, the people is wrong. You, if you set goals and work for this, you can. We can. How do you say? Hacer caso.
Just if you, talking about people, you don't believe them.
Okay. We can't believe or pay attention to people because the people is bad. The people are bad. Have envy or have difficulties or problem with his life, and for envy, don't 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 permit that the other. Hello,
The
hello.
others grow, you said?
The people don't permit that you can advance in your life.
Mhm. Okay. Yes. Thank you. That's right. I agree with you. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. We'll see if when we can read again, maybe next Sunday.
Can you
But
hear me?
yes,
Okay.
The next Sunday there are other sessions.
maybe, maybe. So I will post it early if we can do it. You want to say something, Nicholas?
Yeah, I just wanted to give some ideas to close this interesting
Please.
reading about the book. And I was listening to you, and you said something that for me was interesting, and that was the like spirituality and the time that we should uh, use for developing our or like cultivating our soul and our spirit. And well, it's like kind of sad because nowadays society don't have enough time to do certain activities.
Actually, that is Human Right Article 24. We have the right to have time for culture, for recreational activity, for leisure and vacations, because we need time for ourselves, for the self. We are not robots. We are not just a good or service that is traded in the market. Thank you, Nicholas. I think we lost Nicholas, actually. Are you there? I think we lost him as he was speaking. So thank you so much. Thank you, Vanessa, for joining us. And
Thank you for the
um,
session.
just I'll keep you posted, literally speaking, uh, uh, when we can have another session for reading. Okay? Did you like it? What do you think of this exercise, Vanessa?
It's very good, and I like more mm, more session about the other topics or different topics.
Okay. Yes, we need to finish reading this book. This book is very short. Actually, we don't have to read all the book here. You can read it in your house, read it in English, read it in Spanish, and then we can discuss your favorite parts of the book. Okay? So this week, please finish the book. And on Sunday, we can talk about the book. And then we
Okay.
can have a different topic.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you, Vanessa. Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a good night.